Good afternoon, respected speakers and esteemed guests out here. My sincere apology at the very outset, because I believe I'm the only one without any PPT. Because in between my work as election observer and also back-to-back meetings that I had and also floods, just before I came from Guwahati, I just couldn't squeeze out time to make a PPT. But I come here, and may I also say that I'm not a researcher, I'm not a psychologist, I have got nothing to do with science. But yes, I am a public servant. I'm into civil service for more than 20 years. I come here to speak few words, just with my conviction and my belief that mindfulness is the way forward when it comes to policy making. And also, my apologies because I speak from the perspective of a layman with all the blessings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and my art teacher, Geshe Dorje Damdul, whatever little knowledge I had got and my interest in this mindfulness. I quote, "Your noble son is mad, mad call it, for it to define true madness. What isn't but to be, nothing else but mad, but let go." Unquote. That is what the politician Polonius, who tried to elaborate upon Hamlet's madness before the Queen in the play Hamlet by William Shakespeare. For ages, madness has been a recurring theme in literature, be it Hamlet's madness, the struggles in mental asylum in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and the psychological turmoil in Crime and Punishment. In fact, any person deviating from normal behavior characterized by significant break from reality has been referred as mad. And so they are kept confined in religious madness, madhouses, where they are prayed for. But now, the focus is on mental health, and not necessarily to be called mad, insane, or crazy. Everyone has mental health, but not everyone receives diagnosis involving mental illness. Mental illness are diagnosable conditions which involve changes in behavior, mood, or thinking. On the other hand, as defined by WHO, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to the community and society at large. Peak mental health is about managing active conditions and maintaining wellness and happiness. But not always mental health is at its peak. Again, I refer to WHO says that globally in 2019, 970 million people, or 1 in 8 people, live with mental health conditions. And in fact, they also had to say that suicide is one of the common factor, among the children who are as young as 15 to 19. Staggering indeed are the statistics if we go into details. In fact, as a civil servant, when I was working in the districts, I found young children as young as 9 years old, can you believe, and putting end to the life, living just 9 years on this earth. In view of this global concern, the WHO's mental health report has strategized 3 parts for transforming mental health: deepen value given to mental health by individual communities and governments, reshape physical, social, and economic characteristics in home, schools, and workplace and wider community, strengthen mental health care mindfulness. I believe that is why we all gathered here all these days to talk about mindfulness, to talk about mental health, right? Now I go back because one of the core concepts that we have is happiness. What is happiness? Well, in the art of happiness, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I believe most of us has read the book. Happiness is determined more by one's state of mind than external events, and that level of happiness is determined by our outlook and is a function of how we perceive our situation, how satisfied we are. And that is the transformation in our outlook. And that we have lots of negative mental traits which we need to address and counteract. It requires repeated application of various techniques and taking time. And so the first step is learning how negative emotions and behaviors are harmful and how positive emotions are helpful. In fact, the Dalai Lama says we consider them, that is the hatred, jealousy, and anger, as negative states of mind because they destroy our happiness, and they had to be rooted out. And we also have to grow about the antidotes. So that is what happiness is all about. And mindfulness has been taken up as a core practice for cultivating ethical discipline, for fostering self-awareness, promoting responsible actions, and encouraging deeper understanding of impact of our thoughts and behavior on ourselves and others. In fact, it is being present at the moment without judgment of thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and environment, aiming at deeper understanding of reality and promoting well-being. In fact, this mindfulness can be said to be closely connected to Buddha's teaching on impermanence, independent origination, non-attachment, and letting go. Now we see what mindfulness is spreading. Apart from His Holiness Thich Nhat Hanh, who rose to prominence as activist opposing the Vietnam War, we all know, he published a book, which again I believe most of us read it, Miracle of Mindfulness. Okay. Then what happened was in 1975, the Insight Meditation Society was established, and in 1979, I believe, John Kabat-Zinn, he was one of its students, and he developed what? Mindfulness-based stress reduction program at the University of Massachusetts Medical School in 1979. The insight of the mindfulness can liberate us from fear, anxiety, and anger, allowing us to be truly happy. He developed this program on 7 attitudinal factors that constitutes the pillars of mindfulness: non-judging, patience, acceptance, and letting go. There are also additional qualities which we had talked about, not non-harming, generosity, gratitude, forbearance, forgiveness, empathetic joy. And since its inception, MBSR has been followed, and this has become, and he himself has to say, that paying attention in a particular way on purpose, on present moment, and non-judgmentally. I'm talking about those basics because, a layman like me, we need to, understand what is mindfulness if we are to take forward mindfulness as a part of public policy. I mean, someone like me who haven't gone into the depth, this is, I believe, is important, right? And as Kabat-Zinn has said, that we need to use our energy in strength, wisdom, and compassion. This draws from the Buddhist perspective of deepening connection with others, for which compassion is necessary. Defining compassion, the Dalai Lama, again in his Art of Happiness, has said it is a mental attitude based on the wish of others to be free of suffering and is associated with the sense of commitment, responsibility, and respect for others. Now a question comes, we are talking about mindfulness. Is it really relevant? Well, I can only quote some statistics and all. I am not a researcher, as I have already given a disclaimer. But then there had been numerous studies, which I believe in Harvard University had shown they are using the MRI brain scanning technology, where they say that they have got benefits on learning, memory, regulation, and sense of self. His Holiness the Dalai Lama also refers to genuine exchange of cumulative knowledge of Buddhism and modern science for understanding of human mind and capacity for transforming human brain. In fact, in 2001, the Dalai Lama and the Western neurosurgeons met to talk over the transformation of mind. The Dalai Lama says, all human beings have an innate desire to overcome suffering and find happiness. Training the mind to think differently through meditation is an important way to avoid suffering and anxiety and be happy. In fact, the tools of neurosurgeon came to be utilized and to study the qualities of kindness, compassion, and this has become the nucleus of the studies. These are the efforts. I mean, this So I had been talking about the positive states of mind and developing awareness and living on the present. Because why? This is because it is going to lead to a more joyful existence. It is about living a life through authentic realization, emphasizing living with two deeper values, deeper satisfaction beyond temporary pleasure, and practicing activities which enhance well-being. Okay. So as I was talking as a policymaker, I feel, in my own humble opinion, there can be three pillars if we take forward this mindfulness. First is mindfulness in schools. My earlier speakers, Marabella and Sasha, they had given wonderful presentation on how they had been incorporating mindfulness in schools. First and foremost, training of the children. And so I won't dwell much on it. They had already given such beautiful presentation. But yes, this is something we can also think about and maybe bring such type of examples to a broader forum. Maybe we can think it to bring it to the center stage. I mean, the examples which they had been doing. And yes, of course, there has been other examples also, like, Amy salesman of her Steel Quiet Place, which she had been doing. She had conducted a study of the Stanford University after 8 years of mindfulness training of the 4th and 6th grades. They had documented that they had decrease in anxiety and improvement in attention. I was talking about the suicide among the youngsters. Maybe this is the way out, right? Then there is also the example of Diana Winston. She is also the author of Wide Awake. This is another very popular book. And she has been doing mindfulness intensive camps since 1993 for teens who have been suffering from attention problem, depression, etc. And we know that mindfulness is also coming to the forefront in UK. In fact, there has been around, since 2019, about 370 schools has been practicing mindfulness as in UK. And the UK government has sanctioned around 9.3 million in implementation of a program. They have got a 4-year strategy to provide educators. And what these educators are going to do? They are going to teach mindfulness in the schools. Isn't it amazing? And maybe this is the future. They are just the baby steps which the world is taking for mindfulness. And as a policymaker, I feel happy that these things are happening. In Australia, they have got the Smiling Mind for students for 1 to 2 years in developing mindfulness with skills, and government has also allocated fine. Okay, my time has already come to an end, I suppose, and of course there's another pillar. And yes, I won't elaborate on it, but there has also been studies that now is this another buzzword is emotional intelligence. Now, do this emotional intelligence have got any connection with mindfulness? That is also one question that comes to our mind. And studies have shown that firstly, a regular practice of mindfulness meditation can enhance our ability to understand our emotions. Secondly, people who practice mindfulness easily detect and understand emotions. Thirdly, mindfulness also help us to recover from distress and help us to recover from the emotions. Now, there is also the teacher training is there, and one very good example is the 8-week course that is offered by the Brown University, the British Association of Mindfulness. Also, they have got good practice guidelines for the teachers, and in Bhutan, there is also the choice for yourself. I'll just go, because these are the two pillars. I was talking about the students, I was talking about the teachers, and another thing that can be the thought of is whether mindfulness can be a part of the curriculum. Here again, I will mention about Thich Nhat Hanh and his workup schools, and where he had been proposed the teachers and the students should sit together and tell each other of sufferings inside. He talks of what? Mindfulness of listening and mindfulness of speaking. And he further says that practice of mindfulness is to be aware of the habit energy, to recognize and smile of it. And he talks about the 5 mindfulness training to protect life, to practice true happiness, true love, deep listening, and loving speech, and mindful consumption. And this is based on the insight of interbeing. There goes okay, just bear with me so that I can finish it up. And we bureaucrats always have got this tendency to talk and talk, This is a part of the job, and it became a habit. Since 2011, Workup Schools has become, and there is a book called Happy Teachers. Likewise, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has also been talking about kindness, and he had got 2 books, Loving Kindness and Peaceful Mind. And he had said that he was talking about the happy curriculum, which has the objectives of developing of self-awareness and mindfulness in students, encouraging greater empathy, greater sense of social awareness and values. In fact, he has to say, again, I quote him, before the children get very angry and unhappy, they need to try and identify what is making them feel that way. That is the self-awareness. And he also, because I will just mention, I will not go into the details, because again, I'll take another 15 minutes, I guess. He was talking about the syllabus since 2022. There was this, the Dalai Lama Center for Compassion in collaboration with Emory University launched social, emotional, and ethical learning for young people for the ages of 15 and 18. And what do they want to do? Awareness of nuanced understanding of emotions and thoughts and feelings, firstly. Secondly, compassion on relating to oneself and others through kindness, empathy, and concern for all. And thirdly, engagement on learning behavior. Yeah. So I'll just wind up with all these things, and I will just refer to, because I come from India, and we also have got a health policy in place where we talk about the mental health, and we also have got a new education policy from 2022. I am talking about this because, we have got these, when I was talking about mindfulness, maybe mindfulness can be incorporated in both our mental health and in our educational health policy also, because we also we also have got the Arigya Mandirs. What are the Arigya Mandirs? These are the public health institutes, which has been upgraded, and they are now okay. Okay, then this is just one line I will say. Okay, I'll just wrap it up. And thank you very much, because, as I said, I talk too much. And I believe that maybe this is the right forum, that when we are talking about mindfulness, I look for the day when mindfulness will become a part of our policy. It will become the core of the policy, so that we can think beyond our basic existence of food and shelter. Thank you so very much. Thank you.